Hi, everyone. For today's class, we'll just continue the discussion on this interesting topic now about knowledge representation, knowledge theory, but it's more focused on the knowledge representation. Okay, so just like what we did last time class, we use websites, right? But there we use 4 websites to understand the context of this. No, but we need another website, the 5th website for the discussion on the second role. Remember, we finished the first role already. The first role regarding the knowledge representation as a surrogate. So to discuss the second role, okay, or even the third role, we need this this website or an additional. Though we mentioned this already, but there are some details in this website, but we cannot discuss all the details. I'll just mention some for you to have some general idea. But you can do independent study on the details, no? So there are 5 roles now to understand knowledge representation, according to these researchers. But in your module or in our representation, we'll just focus on the 3. The last 2 we won't discuss anymore because the last 2, I guess the reason for not discussing in the module because it's kind of, especially that you know the context already. The last 2, it's kind of self-explanatory, no? It has to do with the computational and the other one human expression. So by this time, since you have the context, you understood, no, what they mean. That's why the main only those 3 we'll discuss in detail, no? Okay, but you will see those 5 again later. But for now, let me show you that website that we need, no? As a context in the discussion of the third of the 2 roles, of the second and the third role remaining that we will discuss for today's lesson. Okay, so let me show you that website now. Okay, though in role 1 class, in the role 1, we mentioned this already, but as I mentioned, we can discuss it in detail. But since it's important in the discussion of the second and third role, that's why I decided to show you the website. But again, not also in detail, not some details only. So the same website, it's the javapoint.com that we used in the last lesson as context, right? Remember? Okay, let's dive in here. So these are like techniques of knowledge representation. In the module class, this is mentioned as knowledge representation technologies, the KRT. So we can also think of it as techniques. So there are mainly 4 ways of knowledge representation, which are given as follows. So way to represent knowledge in machine or in our AI agent. So these are like the 4 ways. But according to your module, there's like more. But the module or the presentation today will just present 4 also, this 4. But instead of logical representation in the module, it's logic. Semantic network representation in the module or in the presentation, it's semantic net, something like that, no? But it's the same thing. And then frame representation in the module, it's frame. Production rules here, but in the presentation or the module, rules. But the same thing. We're talking of the same thing. So knowledge representation techniques in this diagram or technologies. No? So let's try to understand them in general, but we will not discuss in detail. No? Logical representation. It's a language with some concrete, with some concrete rules, which deals with propositions and has no ambiguity in representation. So logical representation, so logic, means drawing a conclusion based on various conditions. So this representation lays down some important communication rules. It consists of precisely defined syntax and semantics, which supports the sound inference. Its sentence can be translated into logic using syntax and semantics because we will put this in program, right? Into program in our machine. No? That's why important to talk of these techniques because the programming language that you will use will depend on this technique. But it's another lesson. No? For example, if in your program, in your AI program or machine or agent, you use this technique, so what's the best programming language to use? Something like that. No? That's why important that you know this. No? And what corresponding, that's another lesson. No? It's not enough that you know that, but if you're interested, you can explore that part. No? Okay, class, so there's more about syntax semantics, no? Because as mentioned, you will write program. So that's this, you know that as programmer, these are important. No? So, however, there are like the advantages, disadvantages, no, of this technique in representing knowledge, no, in the machine. Okay, so I won't go into the details. So let's talk of the next one, the semantic network representation. The second technique or technology in knowledge representation. No? Semantic networks are alternative of predicate logic for knowledge representation. This predicate logic has to do with the first technique, right? It's mentioned here that logical representation can be categorized into two mainly logics. No? But again, we cannot discuss the detail of this. So as mentioned here, no? Proposition of discuss in later chapters, no? So you can consult this, no? This website about it. Okay, so important only the general, so understand the module, no? Okay, in general as well. Okay, for me, just to know, for you to know the context, so that if you want to study the detail independently, you know where to go, you know what to find, no? Okay, and you know how to filter the information. Okay, semantic networks are alternative of predicate logic for knowledge representation. In semantic networks, we can represent our knowledge in the form of graphical networks. Graphical, no graph. That's why later we will talk about that KR is not a data structure because of this. And there's like a misunderstanding because here we will use graph, and we know that graph is a data structure. That's why there's like a misunderstanding that knowledge representation is a data structure. And later we'll find out, it will be mentioned there, it will be emphasized that knowledge representation is not a data structure. Yes, we use data structures such as the graph here to represent knowledge using this technique. Because when you use this technique, you use a graph. Okay, but graph is a data structure, but the knowledge representations itself using this technique is not a data structure. Okay, class? And we will discuss that later regarding the reason behind it. No? So this network consists of nodes representing objects and arcs which describe the relationship between those objects. That's why we have a graph. No? Nodes is like vertices. No? The arcs is like the edges. No? Remember when we talk of graph, we have the vertices, edges. No? But here, class, it's more different because it's kind of different field. So that's why instead of vertices, we just mentioned nodes instead of edges, arcs. Because here, the edges usually it's straight, right? But here can be not straight. Okay, between those objects. So semantic networks can categorize the object in different forms and can also link those objects using those arcs. Now, semantic networks are easy to understand and can be easily extended. Okay, so we have here like an example. So again, you have two types. So this we don't have time to discuss that. So this one is like the objects, no, something like that, no, in the form of a sentence. And then you put it in a graph. These are like the nodes and the arcs, no, a straight line, no, but can be curved. Okay, so that's the thing here. Using this technique to represent knowledge in your AI machine, which will be translated into a program, something like that. Okay, so it's like representing knowledge, no, in terms of this. In terms of semantics, or the other one representing knowledge in terms of logic, no? Logic in a machine. So okay, there are two more. Okay, two more. In the module class, this will be mentioned again. In fact, some examples. So we have the frame representation. So later we'll have an example of this in the module regarding the program using this AI program using this technique of representing knowledge. Frame. Later we'll discuss that. So a frame is a record-like structure which consists of a collection of attributes and values, and its values to describe an entity in the world. So frames are there again, no? Are the AI data structure, like the semantics, no? Graph is a data structure, but the representation itself is not. The knowledge representation through semantics or through graphs is not data structure. Here again, we use frames, data structure, to represent our knowledge, no? To represent our knowledge in the AI machine or AI agent. Okay, but again, the knowledge representation using frame representation as a technique to represent knowledge is not data structure. It's the frame that we use. Okay, class? Because frames are the AI data structure, we divide knowledge into substructures. So here, class, you notice, no, Structured and substructures by representing stereotype situations. So it consists of a collection of slots and slot values. These slots may be of any type and sizes. Slots have names and values, which are called facets. So we won't go into the detail of this, but the question there is what program to use to represent this knowledge, no? Using frame, no? What programming language that your AI machine will understand, no? Okay, so that's another lesson which we'll not discuss in this. So again, just like the other techniques, you have advantages, disadvantages of this, but we don't have to go time to discuss each of this. No. So the last one, though in the module it's implied, these are not the only knowledge representation techniques or terminology or technologies. No, these are like the main four. No, but there are more. So production rules system. So in the it's mentioned as rule only, right? So we have here the production rule system consists of a condition action pair. So it's a different way of representing knowledge, no? Condition action pairs, which mean if condition then action. So again, class, in the module we'll have an example of a program using this. Okay, so it has mainly three parts. So there's three. Okay, again, we cannot go into the details. So just think of it like that. And there's like an if then conditional statement, no? If then in the product rules, no? So again, how do you put this in the program? So what programming language? So that this is what you can. So again, there are like disadvantages, disadvantages. Okay, for now, that's I think enough for the context. If you want to know the details, you can go back to this. Okay, class. Now let's go back to the module. So we'll not discuss what we already discussed. We'll just pass through it. Okay, so we have this, we're done with that, right? So this one, we're done with the first one, the role. So we're here now. It's a set of ontological commitments that is an answer to the question, in what terms should I think about the world? In other words, remember these ontological commitments have to do with those techniques, no? In what terms should I think the world? Is it in terms of logic? Is it in terms of frames? Is it in terms of semantic? Or is it in terms of rules? Something like that. That's why, as I mentioned, that's the context of this ontological commitments. But we'll discuss more about this later as we pass through the. So this one is the fragmentary intelligent reasoning. That's the third that we will discuss. And this two class, that's the one we will not discuss anymore because since you know the context already, so you understand that this is kind of obvious, no? That your machine is a medium for fragmentary efficient computation. No? So because machine can compute efficiently. Given the big data, it can. So that's our machine. It's a medium for that's the role of the machine. No? It can do efficient computation. So that's a self-explanatory. And also a medium of human expression because we know that the machine, the AI machine, AI agent that we develop, we mimic the human behavior. So if that is the case, it's a medium of human expression. That's why in the language here can be the speaking language. No? Is it English that we will put in that knowledge representation? Is it Tagalog? Something like that. But not only those speaking language, but can be other languages, formal language like is it mathematical language? We know that the language in math is different from the language in science or in history. Okay, so how do you represent that in your AI machine? Okay, so that's important. Okay, because it will affect that cycle, no? Regarding the what technique are you going to select, okay, and what are you going to put here, what language, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we'll just focus on the three. We're on the second now. So these are like the why those five are important. Now those five roles we discussed this also, right? And the terminology. Now this one I'm talking about the knowledge representation technologies. So these are the logic, the rules, frame, semantic nets, etc. So that meaning there's more than these four. And in the website, it's the knowledge representation techniques, but just different name, right? Logic, logical representation, rules, product rules, frames, frame representation, I guess. And then we have their semantic nets. There is that semantic network, no? But they refer to the same thing, no? They are just the same thing, no? If you go there, right? Semantic network, a frame representation. So logic, semantic, frame, rules. They're the same thing. But again, it's implied in the module that there's more. It's just that these are the main. So later, we'll discuss we'll have examples. In fact, for the rules frames, we have a program for this. An example of the program using this tool. Okay, class? So let's proceed. So it will also prove useful to take explicit note of the common practice of building knowledge representations in multiple levels of languages. Typically, with one of the knowledge representation technologies at the bottom level. I think I discussed this already. Yeah, I'm sorry. So not this one. So we're done with that. Okay, so I got carried away with with this one. So anyway, we're done with that. I was thinking it's kind of familiar to me. Also this, right? We're done with this. So we're done with the first one. So let's go to the second one. Okay, let's do this fast so we can go there immediately. So there. So a KR is a set of ontological commitments. So we're here now. So we're done with the KR as a surrogate, no? Imperfect surrogate because it's prone to error, no? Also because it's just a substitute. Okay, so a set of ontological commitments. This ontological commitment class, it's kind of connected to that ontology, no? Ontology is branch in philosophy, no? That talks about the nature, the being, the existence of something, no, of that being, no. But in her class, it's not exactly like that, no. But in a way, because existence of knowledge, no, in machine, in that way, we can think of it that way, no. The other one, the knowledge theory, remember, it's also kind of philosophical because it's kind of origin of knowledge. That one. Okay, the origin. Okay, this one is the nature of knowledge, no. This ontology, no. But I'd like to focus on the ontology in artificial intelligence, no, because that's the context, no. So ontology in artificial intelligence or even in information systems refers to a specific vocabulary and a set of explicit assumptions about the meaning and uses of these words. Okay, so in a way, ontological commitment is an agreement, no, agreement to use this shared vocabulary, no, or language in a coherent and consistent manner with a specific context. Okay, because this ontological commitment, this is connected to the techniques, no, that I showed you in the website. Those techniques or technologies as mentioned in the module, no, this logic, this rule, this frame, no, this semantic, no, it's related to this ontological commitment, agreement, something like that. Because you have to decide this at the beginning now when you develop an AI program, what technique are you going to use? In that technique, there is like a vocabulary to if you notice in the website, right, there is like something unique to each of them, no? Like there's like an assumption, there's like a vocabulary and language unique to each of them. So that's the commitment there. It's like selecting that in your AI program. Okay, so something like that within a specific context because it depends on the task that you will do. Now, for example, later we'll talk about this AI program used for medical diagnosis. So that's just the context, no? That's the task at hand, medical diagnosis. And then companies or a team develop a program to accomplish that task using different techniques. So one program uses the technique, the rule. The other program uses the frame. And we'll find out the names of these programs later. Okay, so let's dive into the details of this. So if, as we have argued, all representations are imperfect approximations to reality, as we found out in the first rule, right? Imperfect approximations, imperfect surrogate. Each approximation or each substitute attending to some things and ignoring others. Okay, so that's the cause of the imperfection. No? Then in selecting any representation, we are in the very same act, unavoidably making a set of decisions about how and what to see in the world. So the selecting any representation has to do with the technique. Is it the rule, the frame, the logic that you're going to select, that you're going to commit with in the AI that you're going to develop, something like that. And that will affect how your machine will make a set of decisions about how and what to see in the world. Okay? It will affect, it will influence because it may see the world in terms of rule or see the world in terms of semantic or or logic, no? So it will affect. Okay, it will affect the decision. Okay, so that is selecting a representation means making a set of ontological commitments. As I mentioned, no? It's like making a set of ontological commitments. So ontology, as I mentioned, in artificial intelligence, it's more like the vocabulary to be used, the language to be used in that machine. Is it in terms of the language vocabulary related to the rules or the logic or the frame or the semantic? So there's like selection to be done at the beginning. No? The commitments are in effect a strong pair of glasses that determine what we can see, bringing some part of the world into our focus at the expense of blurring others. So that's it. No? If you select, because you're the one who's going to develop, right? Human will be the one to develop the AI machines. So in effect, a human will be the one to decide. Okay, because you are, for example, as human, that's what you want to see the world, no? In terms of, for example, logic. So if it's logic, the focus will be that. And so the other parts will be blurred. That's the idea here, no? So despite that, you select it. No, that's the commitment that you have to do with your AI machine. So like the program that we will discuss later, the focus is frame. So the medical diagnosis to be done. Remember, diagnosis. So we're doing the diagnosis of a disease, for example. So we know that human can do that, but we want the machine to do it because we know that if it's machine, it's more efficient, something like that. But there will be the focus blurring effect. If you choose that frame, that technique of knowledge representation in terms of frame, that's the focus. In terms of rule, that's the focus. But the other parts will be blurred. So that's the disadvantage, no? In a way, but also advantage. You'll find out later. So these commitments and their focusing blurring effect are not an incidental side effect of a representation choice. So representation choice meaning whether you will choose the technique based on frame, based on rule. Okay, this is the as mentioned, no, not really side effect, but this is the result. No, this is the consequence. No, there will be focusing blurring effect. That should be the case. It's like, for example, if a human is rational, then there's another individual emotional. No, so if there's like a decision to make, that rational person will base it on reasoning, right? Like mind over heart, something like that. For example, about love, no? That's the task at hand, about love, no? So possible that the rational person will think in terms of reasoning, no? The other one, emotional, so more of the heart, no? Over the mind, something like that. Okay, so similarly for the machine that or AI program that we will develop, no? If we use that technique on how to represent the knowledge frame, that will be the focus of that machine in terms of frame. Or in terms of logic, in terms of, so in a way, it will affect the task at hand. No? Because remember, we want to develop AI machine because we want to accomplish the task at hand. And we want that task to be done by a machine, like medical diagnosis. But for that to happen, you have to select first. No? You have to do this ontological commitment. How will you represent the knowledge? So as we learned in the website and in this module, there's like 4 main. It can be more, but they're like 4 main. Okay, that's the thing mentioned here, no? Representation choice. So there are the essence, no? It's part of it, part of what you choose, no? The focusing blurring effect. So a KR is a set of ontological commitments. Okay, so it is unavoidably so because of the inevitable imperfections of representations we discussed in the first role. That's why this focusing blurring effect is unavoidable. It will happen, no? Once you choose what knowledge representation technology to use in your AI program, this for sure will happen. Will happen. So, so in effect, as I mentioned, there's like advantage also because of this focusing, it will be more efficient. It's like for human, right? It's like though I don't believe in multitasking, no, because if you do single task at a time, there's a focusing effect. Yeah, you can blur the other tasks, but it will be more efficient, no, in accomplishing the task, that one task, no, if you focus. Similarly for a machine, that's why I mentioned it's like an advantage also. Okay, it's like an advantage. Okay, but we know it's not human, right? Okay, so that's why that's the good thing with the machine also because there's no part of the machine will represent knowledge based on emotion. We don't have that. But for human, we have something like that. Especially, we know that it's not only representing knowledge, but also the decision. But here, class, we're not yet talking of that. We're just talking of representing knowledge. No? But later, we will talk about that because it's connected to reasoning. We will find out later that knowledge representation is really connected to reasoning. In fact, we saw that in the last lesson, right? When we talk about the cycle, if you were here. Remember the cycle wherein we have knowledge representation and reasoning. And later, we will talk about that in the third role when we talk of reasoning. Because it's not enough knowledge representation to accomplish the task. There is a need for reasoning. Right? It's like human, right? For the human. To accomplish the task, not only knowledge, but there is a reasoning. But of course, you have to put all of this in a program. Right? It's very important to talk about those techniques of knowledge representation because somehow, whatever you select, what technique to choose will influence what programming language to choose also. No? But again, that's not our lesson. No? That's another lesson, okay, regarding that matter. But this is like the first thing to do, no? Before you can decide what programming language to choose. First, you have to learn first this one to find out and to find out what programming language to use. But of course, you should know about programming languages now, and that is another aspect. Okay, class. So it is usefully so because judicious selection of commitments, so meaning the technique that you will choose, provides the opportunity to focus attention on aspects of the world we believe to be relevant. Relevant in a sense, it's connected to the task that you want your AI program to accomplish, like that one, medical diagnosis. So probably you think of this company or this team thought of using Frame as a technology to represent knowledge because of that task, because that company or that team thought that it's more relevant to use that on the task at hand, which is medical diagnosis. But again, the medical diagnosis also depends on the context, okay? So that's why it should be judicious selection, careful selection of commitments. Okay, but the other company, yeah, same task at hand, but different context, medical diagnosis also, but use different technique of representing knowledge. Instead of Frame, uses rule. Later, we'll have examples of these programs, no? For the two. Okay, later. I think that's the next one, if I'm not, probably later. Yeah, later. So the focusing effect is an essential part of what a presentation offers. So that cannot be avoided, no? Because the complexity of the natural world is overwhelming. So we cannot really capture, no? If we choose this technique, we cannot really capture the real world, no? Because as mentioned here, it's complex, so it's overwhelming. So you notice because here, class, including the machine and our reasoning machines, need guidance in deciding in what in the world to attend to and what to ignore. Because in a way, we're the one developing the AI program, so we're part of it, no? As human, how do we view world, no? In terms of rules, in terms of logic, but of course we connect it to the task at hand, no? What task that you want to do? Is it face detection? But we don't have example of that later. But what we have example later is medical diagnosis. But it's kind of related to face detection as well. That's the task at hand. So what frame are you going to use there? And we know that we have like examples already before, like in the past lesson of the program regarding that. No? But we will not tackle that here. It's like an additional example. So because we'll be the one to decide. No? The human will be the one to decide and to be implemented in the machine, what technique to use? Okay, what technique? Okay, is it the semantic net representation? Is it the product rule representation? Okay, that's why Okay, so the machine is like our extension, no, of the human. That's why substitute. No? So the way of thinking the world, no? Related to the task at hand. So the glasses supplied by a representation can provide that guidance. No? So again, that glasses related to those techniques, no? The classes can be frame, can be rule, can be semantic, or can be logic. No? Can provide the guide. So in telling us what and how to see. So if it's frame that you select in your program, in developing your program, AI program, then that will affect, influence on how that machine, what and how to see the world. No? So they allow us to cope with what would otherwise be untenable complexity and detail. No? Because yeah, it will cope, overcome this, because this, once you choose, there will be focusing effect and blurring effect. So in effect, if there's focusing effect, somehow it solves this problem of overwhelming, no? Or complexity of the natural world, because the focus will be, because there will be focus. Okay, right, class? I suppose you understand what I mean. It's like focusing on one task. So the other task, you won't get overwhelmed, right? Even though so many tasks, since you're focusing on one task, you don't get overwhelmed. No? It's like information also, right? There will be like overwhelming information, but you know the context. That's why you can filter the information. So there, it will affect the focusing, right? Similarly for the machine. No? So hence the ontological commitment by a representation can be one of the most important contribution it offers. This ontological commitment, because with this, there is focusing effect that will happen. Though there is like disadvantage because of the blurring, but there's also disadvantage because it will make the task to be accomplished more efficiently, right? If there is a focusing effect, just like the human, the accomplishment of the task will be efficient if you will just focus on one task at a time. Okay, so that's like the parallelism here, or the analogy, no? Because here we're talking of machines, but to understand it, you think also of human, no? Because we're trying to put the human behavior in the machine. Okay. Okay, class. So let me proceed now. So there is a long history of work attempting to build good ontologies for a variety of task domains. No, so this task domains, example of that is the face detection, or that task about medical diagnosis, which we'll discuss later. So meaning build good ontologies. So for that medical diagnosis, so far we're able to like develop an AI program, and you will know the name later of these programs, wherein two different ontologies are used. The one program uses the frame, the other uses the rules as a technique in representing knowledge in that program. Okay, so to accomplish this task of medical diagnosis, for example. Okay, although there's an example here about the model, no? Including early work on the ontology for liquids, no? The LAMP element model widely used in representing electronic circuits. No? Later, we'll see another model aside from the LAMP model regarding this electronic circuits. So in the next slide, I guess. As well as ontologies for time, belief, and even programming itself. No? Each of this offers a way to see some part of the world only. Okay, not the whole. Okay, so okay, let's proceed. Yeah, I think it's here, the other model, the electrodynamics. Okay, the LAMP element model, for instance, suggests that we think of circuits. I know unit circuits, right? In physics, you learn this, the electric circuit, in terms of components and connections between them with signals flowing instantaneously along the connections, like the current, no? The current, no? This is a useful view, but not only possible one. So meaning you can think of circuit not only in these terms, no? It can be another different ontology. So a different ontology arises if we need to attend to the electrodynamics in the device. So if that is the model, electrodynamics, then you can think of it this way. Here, signals propagate at a finite speed. And an object like a resistor that was previously viewed as a single component. Okay, so here it's an object, no, in this view, with an I/O behavior may now have been thought of as an extended medium through which an electronic magnetic wave flows. So like different terms, no, of looking at the circuit. No? It's like also a machine looking at a certain knowledge, but representing knowledge in terms of frame, logic, rule, right? May have different different same task but different may have different outcome, no? Or output. Okay, so let's dive in now. So ontologies can of course be written in a wide variety of languages and notations. As I mentioned, programming languages like the Lisp, no? However, the instantial information is not the form of that language, but the content. That is the set of concepts offered as a way of thinking about the world, no? Which wherein the knowledge representation techniques technologies are important in this aspect, no? So that's why later, as I mentioned, knowing the appropriate language to be used for that particular technique will be another lesson. But again, as mentioned here, the more important is not that yet, but it's also important. But first and foremost, the content. And the content has to do with the choice of knowledge representation technique. So simply put, the important part is notions like connections, components, the content, not whether we choose to write them as predicates or list constructs, no? Meaning the programming language. As I mentioned, that's not our focus, but it's enough that you know that that's important as well, because how can the program, if without programming language, how can the AI machine, that's why it's called AI program, right? But before you can have that, because how can you create a program without the language, right? So, but again, the more important is before that, is this one, the content, which is connected to the choice of the knowledge representation technique or the knowledge representation technology, because it will influence the choice of the program. Okay, that corresponds best to that choice of knowledge representation technique. But the first thing is you choose first the technique, and then later the program. Okay, programming language. But you have to know more about this first before the programming language. So again, I guess that's another lesson, no? Or another course for that. No? So anyway. Now to proceed, now the commitment, because we're talking of ontological commitment. Now you see here now the examples that I'm referring to. So these are like the two AI programs, no, software programs or softwares I'm referring to are used for medical diagnosis. It's like emerging technology in medicine. No? Excuse me. So let me just read this for a while. So the commitment we make by selecting one or another ontology can produce a sharply different view. As I mentioned, no? It can be different output, a sharply different view of the task at hand. But the same task, but probably a different effect on the task at hand. Because you choose different ontology or different knowledge representation technique. No? And we can see that in this example. So consider the difference that arises in selecting the lamp element view of our circuit rather than electrodynamic view of the same device. No? Okay, that's an example a while ago, but we have another example here in terms of medical diagnosis. No? Excuse me. As a second example, medical diagnosis viewed in terms of rules. So use this technique of knowledge representation, the rules, the product rules. No? In this program, MySyn, no? Looks substantially different from the same task, which is medical diagnosis, viewed in terms of frames. And that's the one, that's the technique used to represent knowledge in this program, internist. No? Okay, so where does the difference lie? So where MySyn sees the medical world as made up of spherical associations connecting symptom to disease. So how come this program sees the medical world like that? Because of the knowledge representation technique used here, which is rules. Okay, so the other one, internist, sees a set of prototypes in particular prototypical disease to be matched against the case at hand, which is medical diagnosis. Okay, so this one, it's like this because the technique or the technology used in representing knowledge is frame. Remember the frame? The frame representation that we discussed a while ago in the website. No? But better class if you can explore the details of this. Because here, class, not only diagnosis, no, also the treatment plan. This program also offers you. No? Once this program identifies your disease, because diagnosis, right? Not human identifying your disease, but instead a machine or a software. So instead of human, and it turned out on the study that usually it's more efficient, no? Using this, no? So of course it's a software. No, there's something that you have to do, right? Like a perception. Remember in the cycle, we have the perception, the learning. So that program should perceive first, no, from you for it to work. This too, no. I don't know how it works. This one, if you have to be scanned. I don't know. I haven't really seen this software, but for sure, the cycle will hold. No, that cycle that we talked about last lesson about the perception, the learning, and then the knowledge presentation and reasoning in the middle. And then after that, the planning execution. The execution has to do with the task at hand, meaning in this case, the execution has to do with diagnosis. That's the execution. But before the diagnosis class, it has to go through that cycle, no, of perception, because the program has to perceive, no, the human. If the human diagnosis, the one doing the diagnosis, of course you have a way to diagnose, right, the human, but it's kind of inefficient because it's human. This one we're talking of machine. So for the human, you have to ask questions to this patient, right? And you have to use some tools, stethoscope, right? Those things. In this software, you don't have to. But of course, there's perception to do. In the human diagnosis, the perception has to do with you have to talk to the doctor, right? Or to the nurse. Usually the nurse first, right? Before you go to the doctor, something like that. You have to fill up something. So there's like perception to do there, no? But this one is a machine. But the machine also mimics the human behavior, but more efficient, no? And it can diagnose a lot because it's a machine. Unlike the human, you have to schedule, right? You have to wait for your schedule. No, this one, if there are a lot of machines, even just one, but it will be fast. So more patients will be entertained, something like that. So that's the idea here. That's why we develop this. That's why artificial intelligence program is very useful, no? Okay, just like the human, it's prone to error, but compared to the machines, as long as the knowledge representation, no, it has to do with that, properly selected, no. Here, for example, this software uses rules. This one frames because the output may be different, no. Probably one will give you the treatment plan, the other one will not give you the treatment plan, something like that. Because the way they look at the medical world, knowledge, different. This one in terms of rules, this one in terms of frames. And later we'll talk about reasoning because it's connected to that, no? That's why in the cycle class, it's coupled together, knowledge representation, reasoning, so that it will be there will be planning and then execution. So important, that one. It's in the third rule later that we will talk about. Okay, class. So I suppose you understand this, huh? This thing. No, it's kind of general, but you can explore more on this to understand it better and explore also about this one. No, that's why I showed you the website on this first. No, but then you can look for other websites talking about this. But this, of course, not the only program. No, using these techniques. No? But important that you understand the details of this if you want to know the details of what we're talking about. No? But for now, our goal is just the general idea. No? Okay, because we don't have really time to discuss them. So as you notice, right? Okay, commitment begins with the earliest choices, meaning the choice of the technique. Okay, so the internist example also demonstrates that there is a significant and unavoidable ontological commitment, even at the level of the familiar representation technologies. No? The internist software uses what? Frame, no? As the technique to represent knowledge. No? Logic, rules, frames, etc. Each embody a viewpoint on the kinds of things that are important in the world. No? So because different, it's like different point of view. Something like that. For example, your parents may look at the world differently from you because they belong to a different generation and you belong to the generation now. So something like that, class. No? This thing that we're talking about. No, it's like perspective or point of view. Okay, so for the machine, it's kind of similar, no? But of course, we will be the one. That's why commitment begins with the earlier choices because we'll be the one. The human will be the one because the human is the one developing, right? The AI programs. So the human will be the one to decide what technique to use in representing knowledge in this machine or AI agent that we are developing. Is it logic? Is it rule? Is it frames? So that's why it's a commitment with the earlier choices because we'll find out later that the first choice will influence the following results later, no? Something like that. That's why commitment begins with this, okay, agreement, okay? So logic, for instance, involves a fairly minimal commitment to viewing the world in terms of individual entities, and relations between them. Minimal. If so, as human, you should be aware of this, no? But if your task at hand, this is important, the viewing world in terms of individual entities between them, then don't choose logic, because as mentioned here, the logic as a technique to represent knowledge, minimal commitment to this. Okay, so if you think your task, the task at hand, like medical diagnosis, will affect that because of this, viewing the world in terms of this, then use other techniques wherein this is emphasized. Okay, so now the rule-based systems view the world in terms of attribute, object, value, triples. That's why, class, in deciding which technique to use, it's important to know what the task at hand. What task do you want? Is it face detection? Is it medical, something like that? So it has to do with methods of scientific method also. No? You have to know the problem first so that you can answer that, right? Something like that. And so that you will know what methodology to use and so on and so forth. Right? It's kind of similar to this. No? And in fact, class, the reason we developed that program, because it's connected to the task that we want, that software will accomplish, right? So in effect, it starts with that. No? Okay, so rule-based systems. Okay, I mentioned this already. Rule-based systems with the word in terms of attribute, object, value, triples, and the rules of plausible inference that connect them. While frames have us thinking in terms of prototypical objects. So just like for the internists, the internists view or represent knowledge in terms of frames. So the thinking there is more on the prototypical. No? But again, later it's connected also to reasoning. No? Because representing knowledge is not enough. There must be reasoning that will be involved in accomplishing the task, which is about the planning and the execution, right? As human, it's not enough that you have knowledge, no? Right? It's like solving a problem. It's not enough that you have a knowledge. You should be able to reason out. That's where analysis will come. And then once you have that, you apply that in problem solving, right? You'll be able to solve the problem, something like that. No, so it's like similar because in AI machine, we're mimicking the behavior of human. Okay? But again, it's an imperfect surrogate. It's not really exact. Okay, so now to proceed, each of this, meaning the techniques, supplies its own view of what is important to attend to. So if you choose rule as your technique in representing knowledge, or if you choose the logic or the frame or the semantic, and then each of those has its own view of what is important to attend to, meaning what to focus on. And therefore, there will be blurring effect, because you focus on that in terms of rule. For sure, there's aspects in the world which will be ignored or blurred. Okay, so this is, of course, it suggests, conversely, that anything not easily seen in those terms may be ignored. Okay, so there's like focusing, blurring effect. This is, of course, not guaranteed to be correct, since anything ignored may later prove to be relevant. That's why that's like a disadvantage, because yes, you focus, but possible that what is ignored using that technique will be relevant later. That's why important at the beginning, you should be able to distinguish what's important, so that it will affect what's important regarding the task at hand or the problem to solve, so that you will associate it with the technique to use in representing knowledge. Okay, so I know it's kind of broad, but I think you can get what the general concept, right? I just need details, okay, to understand it concretely, okay, and that will be your activity already in the class. But the task is hopeless in principle. Every representation ignores something about the world, so it's unavoidable, always like that. If you choose rule as your way to represent knowledge, for sure there will be something about the world that will be ignored by that AI machine. That's for sure to happen. Because similarly for human, it's like that, right? If you focus on that aspect of, that will be the influencing factor regarding your decision. If it is emotion, then that will be evident in your decision. Okay, so So the existing, where is that? So, but the task is hopeless. Every representation ignores something about the world. Hence, the best we can do is start with a good guess. No? So it's like, ano class, no? We have the problem, then we have the hypothesis, right? Good guess, hypothesis. No, it's kind of related to the steps of scientific method. Now, the existing representation technologies supply one set of guesses, no? Meaning that, for example, if it's rule, that will give you some set of guesses, no? Regarding the task at hand, no? If it's semantic, then it will give you one set of guesses and about what to attend to and what to ignore. Now, selecting any of them does involve a degree of ontological commitment because, in a way, because you're aware of this focusing blurring, so you know the risk at hand. So there is a commitment that involves on it, and that is the ontological commitment in a way. No? So the selection will have a significant, as I mentioned, the selection will have a significant impact on our perception of an approach to the task. That's why important that, I guess, class, what's important here, you should know the problem. No? You should know the task at hand so that you can choose the appropriate technique to represent the knowledge. Because if you know the task at hand or the problem at hand, somehow, hopefully, it will help you to choose the appropriate, because that's not our topic for today, choosing the appropriate. It's more of understanding the general only, the general concept here. So the selection, probably that's another lesson also. The selection will have a significant impact on our perception of an approach to that, and on our perception of the world being modeled. Because here we're talking of one task, right? Or it can be multiple tasks. But again, it's connected to the world being modeled, right? Because you do the task in that world. Okay, in this world. Na? So that's why it's ontological, no? It's kind of philosophical, it's kind of abstract, but again, it's concrete. No? There's something concrete on it. Okay, so to proceed, the commitments accumulate in layers. So how? Okay, the ontologic commitment of representation, that begins at the level of the representation technologies, meaning it starts at the selection. Before you develop a program, an AI program, yeah, there is a task at hand or a problem that you want to be solved or a task to be accomplished. And so from there, you select, right, the technique to be represented, to how to represent the knowledge, right? Is it rule? Is it frame? And so on and so forth. So that's like the first layer. But something will accumulate from there. Some questions like this. So additional layers of commitment are made as we put the technology to work, meaning that AI, using that technique or technology to represent knowledge in that AI. No? So the use of, for example, in the internist, no? The use of frame-like structures in internist, right, medical diagnosis, offers an illustrative example. So at the most fundamental level, the decision to view diagnosis, no, in terms of frames. So that's the first layer. No? Viewing the medical world in terms of frames. Suggest thinking in terms of prototypes, defaults, taxonomic hierarchy. So the next layer there to ask is but prototypes of what? And how shall the taxonomy be organized? Okay, you already selected the technique to use to represent knowledge, but the next question is, but prototypes of what? That's very important to answer because you have to put it in the program, right? Okay, that program will think in terms of frames, no? And the programming language will be using this, no? The frames, but prototypes of what? And how shall the taxonomy be organized? That's why accumulate in layers, no? So an early description of the system shows how these questions were answered and in the task at hand, supplying the second layer of commitment. So the knowledge base underlying the internal system is composed of two basic types of elements. This is entities and manifestations. That's why I suggest you explore more on this because this program, actually it has to do with internal medicine, no? Internal medicine, no? That kind of medical diagnosis, na so it's limited because this is the task at hand. It has to do only with internal medicine, no? So in that, these two are important. This is entities and manifestations. So it also contains a hierarchy of disease categories, no? Organized primarily around the concept or organ systems, having at the top level such categories as liver disease, kidney disease. So that's the next layer to be answered, no? How do you put this in terms of frames? something like that. How do you put this in the program? Okay, and using frames. Okay, so what prototypes of what and how shall the taxonomy be organized? So meaning like this. Now, when you talk of taxonomy, you're talking of categories, right? Or classes like liver disease, kidney disease. Okay, now that program knows already how to represent knowledge in terms of frames. And then probably through perception in that cycle, that program, okay, in terms of frames, and then able to detect this a liver disease in you, right? Something like that. That's why important. And what is the name of that liver disease, and what's the corresponding treatment plan for that? No, so those are the things like mentioned here. No, accumulate in layers. No, so there's still questions to be answered. So not only the first, that initial choice as mentioned here. No, commitment begins with the earlier choices, but that first choice will yield to more questions. That's why the commitments accumulate in layers. Okay, so the prototypes are thus intended to capture. No, we're still talking of what? This internist, not because remember as frame, they look at the medical world in terms of prototypes. But what prototypes? That's the next question. Okay, the prototypes are thus intended to capture prototypical diseases because that's how your knowledge representation technique is framed. So in terms of prototypes, for example, a classic case of a disease, and they will be organized in a taxonomy, index around our organ system. Organ system meaning liver, kidney. So that's the taxonomy there now. But of course, it's another story when you put it in a program using a certain programming language appropriate to this choice of KRT, knowledge representation technique. And in this case, it's the frame, right, for the internist. So this is a sensible and intuitive set of choices, but clearly not the only way to apply frames to the task. That's why there's another program developed, which is the MySyn, using the rules. But the same task, medical diagnosis, no, because this is not the only way to, but of course may have different outcome because of the different techniques to represent knowledge. Hence, it's another layer of ontological commitment. Okay, so at the third, so in this case, final layer, this set of choices is instantiated. Which diseases will be included? Like I mentioned. Okay, the second layer, okay, we know already liver disease, kidney, but which of the liver diseases will be included? So that's like another layer that you have to take care of in the program that you will develop, because it will influence the execution in the cycle, right? But of course, don't miss the reasoning. Later, we'll talk about reasoning. That's why all these roles are connected. No? Yeah, we're discussing them separately, but they're connected. Like right now, I'm mentioning about the next cycle, the next role, right? The reasoning, because this knowledge representation. However, this thing about accumulate in layers, reasoning is implied here. No? Intelligent reasoning in particular. That's why in the next role, we'll talk about what is intelligent reasoning. In what? That's why we talk of another perspectives there. You will see that later. Okay. So again, all of this, we're putting it in a machine, right? Putting it in a machine. Okay, but we're the human. We are the one developing the machine, no? And we're trying to put this human behavior in that machine. Okay. So, this set of choices is in the, so which diseases will be included and in which branches of the hierarchy will they appear? No? So ontologic questions that arise even at this level can be quite fundamental. Consider, for example, determining which of the following are to be considered diseases. Abnormal states requiring cure. So alcoholism, homosexuality, and chronic fatigue. No? So the ontological commitment here is sufficiently obvious, no? And sufficiently important. Because remember, it is like remember the ontologic commitment, as we discussed at the beginning, has to do with the language or the vocabulary. So in a way, there's like initial data that you have to put in your AI machine, like this one. Okay, this diseases. So that's why that machine will deal with big data, no? Because you'll be the one to decide actually what diseases to put, no? Here, it's like human, right? Human. If human will not study this, he will not know about this one, right? So it's like our machine also, no? putting information into our machine in a way. No? As we put information, initial information to the machine, it's like the machine is growing, no? in knowledge. So that's why in that machine, there is a big data there. Include also the data, the new data that will be input because of the diagnosis, right? Because possible, the error there is if that machine, because you did not put it in your initial data, if that machine cannot recognize the disease because you did not put it, probably that disease is not yet, it's like new for this generation, something like that. Huh? It's like new. That's why you did not put it in the historical data. So in that case, the machine will have an error. No? It cannot identify because it's something new wherein there's no historical data available. Okay, I suppose you understand what I mean. Okay, so there's like existing data already and new data will be input there. That's why the data will be increasing. No? So that's why you'll be dealing with big data here, no? In that program. Okay, so the ontologic commitment is here sufficiently obvious, sufficiently important that it's often a subject of debate in the field itself, no? Quite independent of building automated reasoners. Automated reasoners because we're talking of machines, no? Not human. Okay, class, so I believe you understand that. Now, similar sorts of decisions have to be made with all the representation technologies, not just about frame. Because in our example, we're talking of internists using frame, no? And the Mayasian using rules. No, for all. As we mentioned, we focus on the 4, but there can be more. Okay, so similar sorts of decision, meaning same. We're talking of this same layer. We're talking of the commitments accumulate in layers, no? Or the other one. Commitment begins with the earlier choices. No, all this have to do with the decisions, no, that you will put in the program. You will decide and then put it in the program, no? Okay, so. Because each of them supplies only a first order guess. And what is that for first order guess? It has to do with that choice that choice of or selection of the KR technique. Because if you choose a frame, it will give you the first order guess. If you choose the rule, it will give you the first order guess. But the other layers of questions will be the issue, no? Because that's the thing, no, about how to see the world. Because if it is frame, that's how your machine will see the world in terms of frame. If it's rule, that's how your machine will see the world in terms of rule. It will give you first order guess, no? Okay, they offer a way of seeing but don't indicate how to instantiate that view. For example, as frames suggest prototypes and taxonomies, right? That's the frame. But do not tell us which things to select as prototypes. So that should be taken care of as well. No? Rules suggest thinking. For example, this is your choice of technique for your knowledge presentation. It suggests thinking in terms of plausible inferences because that's the rule, no? Plausible inferences. But don't tell us which plausible inferences to attend to. Okay, something like that. No? Similarly, logic. So that's another technique of knowledge representation, logical representation. Similarly, logic tells us to view the world in terms of individuals and relations, but does not specify which individuals and relations to use. So this is like the thing mentioned, no? Accumulate in layers. So there's like a second layer to be answered, decisions to be made regarding that. Because you really have to decide that in your program. Okay, so that's the idea here. No? Otherwise, if you don't do that, the cycle will not be complete. That's why the reasoning is another role that will solve this problem. The reasoning, that third role, no? Because remember the cycle, right? Perception, learning, knowledge representation in the middle, right? Knowledge representation and reasoning. And reasoning there will be taken care of later by the third role. Okay, class, so I believe you understand it. And that is important in the cycle before planning and execution. Execution has to do with the accomplishment of the task, which is your main reason of developing that AI program. Now, for example, the task is face detection or this one, medical diagnosis. No? Okay, to proceed, commitment to a particular view of the world that starts with the choice of a representation technology. So that's very basic, no? That's why knowledge representation and reasoning. So that has to be done first before the reasoning, no? So what technology, what technique are you going to use to represent that knowledge in that AI program that you are developing? No? Is it frame? Is it a rule? Because it will influence the programming language that you will use. Okay, and accumulates as subsequent choices because as we mentioned there, accumulate in layers of questions. No? Yes, the choice of representation technology will give you the first, which is important, the first question it will answer. But however, the other layers are also important to be answered, and that will become possible through reasoning. Okay, class. So as mentioned, it starts with the choice of and accumulates that are made of how to see the world in those terms. Accumulates as subsequent choices are made about how to see the world in those terms. When you say terms, rule, techniques, have to do with technique, or semantic, or frame, logic, so on and so forth. Okay. So now, as I mentioned, there is a misunderstanding that a KR is a data structure. But as mentioned here, a KR is not a data structure. We just use the data structure to implement that knowledge representation. For example, this one, remember we talked about the graph already, no? Yeah, for example, note that each layer, even the first, selecting rules or frames, the choices being made are about representation, not data structures. Okay, for example, in the semantic, there's a graph. Graph is a data structure that we use to represent knowledge in terms of semantic. The other one is the frame representation. Frame is a data structure to represent knowledge in terms of frame representation. But the knowledge representation using those techniques is not a data structure. We only use those data structures to implement the knowledge representation, just like the graph and the frames. No? Because representation has meaning, as mentioned here, no? Part of what makes a language representation is that it carries meaning. There is a correspondence between its constructs and things in the external world. No? The knowledge representation has a meaning, unlike the data structure. No? That the correspondence in turn carries with it a constraint. No? So there is like a limitation. And the meaning there is connected to the external world. No? Okay, that we associate to that correspondence. No? So anyway, so a semantic net, for example, so as mentioned already, no, the graph, no? Net is a representation. Well, a graph is a data structure used to implement this knowledge representation using semantic network. No? So there are different kinds of entities, even though one is invariably used to implement the other. No? Meaning, the data structure is used to implement the knowledge representation. So they are different, the two. No? Precisely because the net has a semantics. Okay, semantics has to do with the class. No? It's like the data structure to be used in that in this knowledge representation. So that semantics will manifest in part because it constrains the network topology. So a network purporting to describe family membership as we know them cannot have a cycle in its parent links, while graphs, data structure, are of course under no such constraint. They have arbitrary cycles. No? And we see that in the example class, no? in the website that I showed you a while ago, that regarding the discussion of semantic, right? You notice in this graph, this is knowledge representation, but we use the graph data structure as data structure to implement this representation of knowledge. But you notice there's no cycle, no? A graph may have a cycle, but here, class, yes, it is a graph, but you notice there's no cycle, no? Cycle is like, there's like, the beginning is the end, meaning connect these two. So that's cycle. But in semantic representation, we don't have that. You notice it's always like the ending, the end here, no? But no, this one are not connected, no? So that's why, because here it has a meaning, that's why we present it this way, no? That's why the graph used here is the one without cycle. Okay, to implement this knowledge representation. Okay, so I suppose you understand that. I believe you understand that. Okay, class, so that's the thing there. So while every representation must be implemented in the machine by some data structure, the representative process is in the correspondence of something in the world and in the constraint that corresponds in poses. Okay, we just use the data structure to implement the knowledge representation in the machine. Okay, you notice in the machine. Okay, but knowledge representation is not data structure. Okay, we're now on the third one. Okay, so KR, as I mentioned, knowledge representation and reasoning, they're connected. No? If you want to be able to answer those layers of questions posed a while ago in the role 2. So KR is a fragmentary theory of intelligent reasoning. Fragmentary because not complete. No, it's like bits and pieces. No, the third role of representation is a fragmentary theory of intelligent reasoning. This role comes about the initial conception of a representation is typically motivated by some insight indicating how people reason intelligently, or by some belief about what it means to reason intelligently at all. So how does intelligent reasoning is viewed here? So if it's connected to knowledge representation because if you represent knowledge in terms of rule, then intelligent reasoning may be different if you use the knowledge representation in terms of logic, something like that. No, the idea here. Okay, class. So we're running out of time, so I think I have to skip some details. But okay, the theory is fragmentary in two distinct senses. So the representation typically incorporates only part of that insight. That's why it's fragmentary, because it's only part or belief that motivated it. That insight or belief is in turn only part also of the complex, multifaceted phenomenon of intelligent reasoning. So again, you see here the focusing blurring effect. No? That's why it's connected to the second one. No? Second rule, where we talk about focusing blurring, and here the fragmentary, but we're talking of the intelligent reasoning, right? But again, there is the focusing focusing blurring effect here, because if it's only part, so that's the focus. The other parts will not be focused. It will be blurred, no? So it's connected to that fragmentary intelligent reasoning mentioned here. So a representation theory of intelligent reasoning is often implicit, but can be more evident by examining three components. No, these three. So the representation fundamental conception of intelligent inference. So how does your machine views the conception of intelligent inference? What is that in that machine? And also the sanctioned inferences, and also the recommended inferences. So how will that machine think of these three components now? Okay, so where the sanctioned inferences indicate what can be inferred at all, the recommended inferences are concerned with what should be inferred. So it's like that. The sanctioned inferences is like big data. No, out of the big data, what is the recommended inference? Something like that. And how do you get this sanctioned inferences? It has to do with this. The conception of intelligent inference. No? That's why this is connected to the choice of the knowledge representation technique. No? It will influence this conception of intelligent. That's why you notice in the cycle, they're coupled together, but that's different. No? Coupled together because in a way, it will influence this. And this one will have something to do with the sanctioned inferences. If that machine the consumption of intelligent reasoning of intelligent inference of that machine is based on that choice of a knowledge technique, which is, for example, rules, then it will have it will affect these sanction inferences. Then out of those sanction inferences, how will you get the recommended inferences? No? Okay, so so guidance is needed because the set of sanction inferences is typically far too, as I mentioned, no, far too large, so big data to be used indiscriminately. So where the ontology we examined earlier tells us how to see, meaning that one, when you select what technique, that's how to see. Okay, but this one, the recommended inferences have to do with how to reason. But you have to connect this to the intelligent reasoning. That's why knowledge representation is something like this, how to see, and reasoning there have to do with this, how to reason. So they're connected, as you can see here, no? Okay, now let me proceed. So these components, those three, no, can also, those three, the conception of intelligent inference, the sanction inferences, and the recommended inferences can also be seen in terms of asking these questions. Now, what does it mean to reason intelligently? Meaning the conception for the machine, how does, but of course, it will depend on the human because we're the one developing, so we'll be the one to decide how our machine that we're developing or the AI program that we're developing, how will it conceive the conception of intelligent reasoning. The knowledge representation is taken care of, right? We already decide that, and then this one should be decided as well. Okay, what can we infer from what we know, meaning the sanction inferences, no? And then what ought we infer on what ought we to infer from what we know, the recommended inferences. Answers to this question are at the heart, no? That's why important, at the heart of representation spirit and mindset. Knowing its position on these issues tells us a great deal about it, no? Because as mentioned, knowledge, representation, and reasoning are intertwined. It will influence the parts of that cycle, no? Which is planning and execution. And that's why very important to answer the questions because it will affect the accomplishment of the task at hand that you want your machine to do. In the first place, that's why you develop that machine, right? Important, not only the technique, but also these questions. But you have to connect this to intelligent reasoning to answer them because you need to answer them because you have to put this in the program. that you have to put in that machine. Okay, so that the task at hand will be accomplished. Okay, class. So I believe you understand it. So now we begin with first of this examining the two of several fundamentally different conceptions of intelligent reasoning that have been explored in AI. Now the AI is mentioned for the first time. These conceptions and their underlying assumptions demonstrate the broad range of views on the question and set important context for the remaining components. Okay. So now, what is intelligent reasoning? So what are the essential defining properties of intelligent reasoning? So this is where we will talk about the fields. No? When it comes to knowledge representation, we talk about those techniques, right? The rule, the frame, and so on and so forth. But when it comes to intelligent reasoning, we talk of the fields, these 5 fields. But of course, these are not the only fields. These are only examples. But again, you mentioned, you notice the second time around the AI is mentioned. So we know it's really the context. No? So what are these 5 fields? It's shown in the table. So let me just show you the table instead. So we have the mathematical logic. So this is like the view of the reasoning, intelligent reasoning in terms of this field. That's why I come up with this concept. Okay, and these are the people behind this, no? Or the intellectuals behind this view of intelligent reasoning from this field. And then we have the psychology, the biology, statistics, economics. And I think discussed in the following slides. One view historically derived from mathematical logic in the first column makes the assumption that intelligent reasoning is some variety of formal calculation. So how do you put this in your machine if that's what you want to put in your machine? If that's the one related to the task at hand, is it mathematical logic, psychology, biology, statistics, economics? As a developer, you'll be the one to decide that. Okay, the first step is to decide what technique to use to represent knowledge. The second has to do with reasoning. The reasoning. So which one are you going to choose here in relation to the task at hand? Okay, that's why important that you know this. No? So the modern exemplars of this view in AI, again, the third time around mentioned the context, are the logicists. No? So you'll be the one to decide this. Or is it the second view, which is rooted in psychology? This reasoning as a characteristic human behavior and has given rise to both the extensive work on human problem solving and the large collection of knowledge-based systems. Now, again, just like selection of the technique, knowledge representation technique, the task at hand will help you to decide which of this view of intelligent reasoning to use, which one of these 5 or more, as I mentioned, can be more. It depends on the task at hand. So the third approach, which is rooted in biology, takes the view that the key to reasoning is the architecture of the machinery that accomplishes it. Hence, reasoning is a characteristic stimulus-response behavior that emerges from parallel interconnection of a large collection of very simple processors. No? Researchers working on several varieties of connectionism are the current descendants on this line of work. That's why if you look at the table, it's connectionism. No? It's like the concept. But of course, this is not the only concept related to this. It's like examples only. No? To talk about views of intelligent reasoning and their intellectual origins. Okay, class? So the next one is the fourth approach derived from, so it's like statistical now, no? Probability theory adds to logic the notion of a certainty. So that's what we know, right? When we talk about probability distribution, usually it's that notion of a certainty or random, yielding a view in which reasoning intelligently means obeying the actions of probability theory. But if you look at the table, it's not mentioned probability. But if you explore this on the internet, the causal networks, it's related. This concept, excuse me. And these are the people. Remember Bernoulli binomial distribution, right? There, indeed, it's probability. Okay? So that's for the statistical view of intelligent reasoning. The last one is, and I believe it's not the last one, at least for this lesson, there can be more use of intelligent reasoning from this field, which is economics. Probably the task at hand is related to this, then use this view. Adds the further ingredient of values and preferences, leading to a view of intelligent reasoning defined by adherence to the tenets of utility theory. So more of the economic use. No? Excuse me, class. Okay, class. So I think that's it. That's the end of it. We're just on time. Okay, so I suppose you understand, and I mentioned already the last 2 that we'll not discuss in detail because they're like self-explanatory. So these are like the 3 roles, no? But again, class, that's another lesson. Which technique you're given the task, which technique to use regarding the representation knowledge, and which view of intelligent reasoning are you going to use depending on the task. That's another lesson, and then put it in the context of that cycle, no? Perception, learning. Then the middle part in the cycle is knowledge representation and reasoning coupled together, which will affect the planning and execution of the task. Okay, which you will put in your program. Okay, class, so I think that's it. Yes, these are the references. So I added this one for the 5th. So you can refer to this for more exploration. Okay, so that ends the lesson for this week, class. Thank you very much for attending. Bye for now.